How you doing? I'm Kenneth. I'm the Lone Dice Guy. I know it's been quite a while since I uploaded, and so I wanted to do a quick recap of all that's happened in our adventures with Ming Zhao before diving into today's session. Let's do it. So before we get into everything, I wanted to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. As you can tell, I'm not in my normal apartment. That's because I was living in Asia, in Taiwan to be exact, where I was recording those older videos. And I've since moved back here to the States, currently at my parents' place. And so we'll be figuring out what to do next in the meantime, but for now I'm here, and so that's why I haven't been able to upload a video recently, so forgive me. I was literally moving across the world. But I do want to get back on track with these videos, and I do want to get back on track with Ming's adventures, and I'm super excited to do that. So with all that housekeeping stuff out of the way, let's recap what's happened so far. All the way back in episodes 12, 13, and 14, I believe, Ming and Jem encountered Jem's little sister, who was the necromancer, sorceress type character. And she had been practicing raising dead at kind of this ancient burial mound, where Ming found an altar to the dragon that founded his order. Well, Ming realized from that fight that he wasn't very much help. And so afterwards, Jem, in her wisdom, suggested he find a weapon for himself, find something that he can use that would help him in his adventures. And so they agreed that they would go separate ways. Jem would go back to her home to deal with some family stuff, and Ming would go back to the monastery to find a weapon. We kind of thought of this idea of something called the Rite of Selection, a rite where one of the members of the Order of the Dragon basically binds themselves to a weapon or two to use as their personal weapon, to be used with their supernatural key abilities. And so Ming has decided to undergo that rite, and so he's come home, and there was some weird stuff happening between him and Tai Yang, some weird tension that we'll see where it goes, but it was strange to see how they kind of clashed against each other. I wasn't really planning on making Tai Yang that, it just came out. So, but there definitely was some tension. There definitely was some tension there, and so we'll see what that is or what that means going forward. And then on top of that, we've got another layer of tension in that now Ming is going to do a rite that maybe the master didn't want him to do, but because of the rules, we won him over. And so Ming is now endeavored to climb to the top of the mountain where his monastery rests. And last session was him doing that. He encountered a bunch of different traps and well, not traps, but like some challenges and problems along the way. Just barely scraped by the skin of his teeth. Makes it to the top of the mountain. He's able to carve his name into the wall among the chosen who have completed the rite. But then, if you remember, way back about 3 or 4 episodes ago, I rolled right when Ming was starting off. I rolled for something. I asked the fate chart a question. Did the dragon leave? And I rolled no. And so now I'm thinking. I've had time to think about it. I think that was the wrong question. I think I should have asked, did the dragon come back? And I'll kind of reinterpret it as, yes, he came back. Not that he never left. I think he has left before, but for some reason he's back now. This is going to be a unique situation, not something that I think for most of the members of the order, when they carve their name in the wall, and then go into the dragon's roost area, he's normally not there. And we'll talk about what I think about it should happen in a moment. So just thought I'd clear that up. I don't think the dragon is normally here. He's here right now for whatever reason. All right. So with that said, let's dive into today's session. I'm not going to start a new scene yet. He hasn't we're still in the middle of it. So Ming has carved his name into the side of the mountain, or into the cave, wall, among several other members of the Order of the Dragon, those who have passed the Rite of Selection. And so as he heard the low moan and growl of the dragon, he, of course, went forward, and there, sitting on his roost, is Nisoronth, the Redeemer of Men. We'll figure out why he has that name in a moment. So in my head, I'm imagining an Asiatic dragon. So not like a normal Dungeons and Dragons dragon that looks more like a lizard, like maybe like two haunches and maybe smaller forearms. I'm imagining an Asiatic, long, almost serpentine-like dragon. What color is he? Let's go to our dice. This is a D8, and so we'll just go 1 to 7 is the colors of the rainbow, and then the 8 will be maybe black or white. I'll roll something else. All right, figure it out. 4. So that means it's going to be red, orange, yellow, green. So he's green. Okay. That'll be his scale color. What about the underbelly? What color will that be? 6. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo. So like a bluish. Okay, so what I'm imagining is he's got green scales. I'm imagining almost a really pale green. And then he's got a bluish, tealish underbelly. So almost a very maybe leaning closer to green, but not quite green. So it's like a pale green scales with bluish, tealish underbelly scales. And then I'm also imagining, just to put in some flavor, a fin, maybe like cloud-like fins going down the back of his body. I'm imagining him to be yellow. I'll imagine to be yellow. And so it's almost like an aquamarine kind of theme for his scales. And so he's an Asiatic dragon, right? So he's got long whiskers and maybe like a little bush, a bearded bush around his nostril areas. So he looks like this a very stereotypical Asiatic Chinese looking dragon. So this is really cool. Okay. So Ming walks into, and he just barely gets past kind of the archway that goes into the area where the roost of the dragon is. Like I said last time, it looks to be like a dormant volcano cone, and so it goes up. There's an opening above, but there's definitely walls all the way around. The perfect place for a dragon to hide. Now, he's sitting on a roost, but that roost is on top of what looks to be some kind of ancient altar. You can definitely tell there's draconic runes scrawled into. Maybe it's an ancient form of draconic, so Ming can't read it quite right away. But still, he's looking at this dragon. He's completely gobsmacked, completely just blown away. And I'm thinking, we got to figure out what kind of person the dragon is. We should figure out what kind of person the dragon is. So we'll turn to Une. Well, no, we don't. We know what kind of person the dragon is because we have the tenets that he set forth to found the order. So we know that he is a person of law and order, of doing what's right. We know that he's a person of wanting to help others, because remember, one of the rules of the order is to always seek peace, to always push peace. So he's probably not prone to violence. I can imagine he's also, because of the rules about kind of removing themselves from the world, not having a business, not joining a military, that he's also probably going to be very almost hermit-like. He's probably not going to be, he's not going to be very social. Of course not. He's not going to be very social. Gotcha. Okay, I got an idea. So Ming walks forward very trepidatiously. And before he says a word, the dragon is, at this point, been kind of casually perched on his roost. I mean, eyes are open, clearly awake, looks up, kind of He lifts his head up and peers towards Ming, a wisp of smoke coming out of his nostril.
Hello. It's been some time since I had a visitor.
Are you him? Are you the dragon that formed my order?
Yes. Say my name.
You are the great dragon Nisoronth, aren't you?
Yes.
I think at that point, immediately, Ming's gonna prostrate himself before the dragon in complete reverence.
There is no need to do that, monk. I am not worthy of your worship. So stand.
So Ming slowly stands up. I had heard that you had been long gone, that you had left a long time ago, eons ago. Why are you back here? What brings you back here?
There are many things happening in the world that I am not happy about.
I think Ming's gonna be confused by that, and so am I. What kind of things are you talking about? The world is happening, things are happening as normal.
I do not sense that. There has been a change, a shift in the very air that I breathe. Something is happening, young monk. I have returned to find someone like you to right the balance of the air.
Surely you mean my master. I can go and retrieve him for you. He's much stronger and wiser than...
No. I seek you, for you are the one that is here. Your destiny brought you to my lair when I was here. This is clearly the will of fate.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Don't. Simply listen. Long ago, I and my brother, the Phoenix, created two orders of guardians that would protect the balance of this world.
The Phoenix. We have a sister order in the Southern Mountains. The Order of the Phoenix. You're talking about that same order.
Yes, the same one.
I didn't know you were related to the Phoenix.
He is my brother. And we have a sister as well, the moon.
The moon?
The moon. My brother and I guarded the balance of the earth, and she kept the balance of the air.
Okay. But you said the balance of the air was wrong or off kilter?
Yes. Something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. And I don't know what it is.
Oh, are you able to speak with your sister, the spirit of the moon?
No. I have not heard from her since before I left my roost where I now sit.
I don't understand. What does this have to do with me? You can see, I think Ming at this point is going to sense an impatient. Remember, the dragon's not very social.
I was getting to that, but you keep asking questions. Do you want me to explain the story or not?
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Please, continue.
As I was saying, long ago, my brother and I kept the balance of the earth. Whenever the scales tipped in one side or the other, we stepped in. In times of great order, we sowed a little chaos. And in times of great calamity, we brought peace and stability that helped the people flourish. We did this together, united as brothers.
I've never heard that story before. I've never heard of such actions by you or the Phoenix.
This is because that's happened many, many years ago, before the founding of any orders like yours or the Phoenix, before the foundation of the continent where you now stand.
Okay.
Listen, young monk. It is that time again. A great calamity is upon us. I can sense it in the air, in the very soil under your feet.
What calamity?
I don't know. That is why I need you.
Me specifically. Like anyone else from my order.
I need you, young monk. You are here now, are you not?
Yes?
Then destiny has chosen you to fulfill this mission. No other will do.
I just came to do the Rite of Selection. I didn't come to gain a quest from you. At that point, a billow of smoke comes out of the dragon's nostrils. A little tiny jet of flame shoots out of his mouth. He roars a little bit. You know, you could tell he's very annoyed by this.
I didn't ask for your opinion. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, you're the one that fate has chosen. Accept your role.
What?
Listen, you wish to undergo the Rite of Selection.
Yes, I've completed it. I've chiseled my... What's funny?
The Rite of Selection is a rite handed down to the first founder of the Order. Don't tell me that it has been forgotten.
Clearly it has. I thought I just chiseled my name in the wall and that was it. Are you telling me there's more?
Much, much more. Step forward, and I will administer the rite, if you're brave enough.
Alright, I think at this point, that's gonna call into question something. Is Ming brave enough? I'm gonna have him do a wisdom check. I'm having him do a wisdom check. I think he's brave enough. I'm pretty sure he is. And I'm actually gonna have him do an insight check. I think he's trying to sense like is this something that's dangerous? You know, I'm just gonna give him an insight check. DC is 10. Chaos rank last time was at 4, so DC 14. So I gotta roll an 8 or higher and I'm good. Or sorry, 7 or higher and I'm good. Ooh. So we've got a 3 and a 7, that's a 10. So he failed his insight check. What does that mean? I think that means He's going to be intimidated by this. He's definitely going to be intimidated by this. And he's not going to quite understand what's going on. I don't step forward. Why? This is not what I bargained for. This is not what it's not what I signed up for. I just came for a weapon, something that I could use to make me stronger. I didn't come to take on some quest.
Young monk, is there someone you care about?
Why?
It's just a question. Do you have someone that you would like to protect at all costs?
I had someone. She's no longer with us in this world. The dragon dips his head low for a moment and raises it up.
Were you strong enough to save her? No. I can give you the power so that next time you find someone to protect, you will be strong enough. And I will give you the power to protect him, even now, from the calamity to come. But you must step forward.
I think Ming's going to be swayed by that. In fact, I'm going to make him do a wisdom save. If he fails it, if he fails this wisdom save, I think he'll be open to any suggestion from the dragon. So 10 plus 4 equals 14, so that's the DC. And I'm going to add on to 16 because the dragon's really intimidating and persuasive. So 16 wisdom save. 11. All right, so he's now failed 2 checks to try and figure out what's going on. I think thinking of Leah and being intimidated by a dragon, I think his defenses have essentially been worn down. He's malleable and open to anything the dragon suggests / commands. And so with that, he's going to step forward, trepidatiously, of course. I mean, he's walking closer and closer and closer to the roost where the dragon sits on the altar. I think at this point, the sheer size and magnitude of the dragon is going to be... He's going to notice it for the first time. This is not a small dragon. This is a monstrous creature. I do think he's going to be probably not colossal sized, but definitely huge sized. So he's just this huge creature is sitting in front of him. And he walks up. He's now at the base of the altar, looking up at the dragon. At this point, the dragon kind of starts to coil up, almost like a cobra, almost kind of like shh. And he leans down, and he's looking at Ming from above him.
Young monk, do you wish to undergo the rite of selection?
Yes, I do. I want to be stronger.
Good. What are you willing to give up?
I don't know.
Think. In order to gain, you must give.
Ming thinks hard for a second. I'm willing to give up my spiritual connection to the elements. I haven't studied them near as much as I should have. And because of that, my skill is lacking. I'm willing to give it up to attain whatever power you offer, great Nisoronth.
Good answer. Do you wish to undergo the Rite of Selection?
Yes.
What do you wish to gain?
A weapon. A weapon for me that only I can wield.
Only one?
If you're willing to share more, I'll take more.
I will grant you your weapons.
Thank you, O great dragon, Nisoronth.
Young monk,
Yes,
are you willing to die?
for what? For what would I be dying for?
Good question. I'll leave that to you.
And so at this point, the dragon starts kind of floating, almost seemingly like a fly spell magically. And he floats up and he starts swirling up and up and up and up into the upper areas of the cone. This is a really large chamber. And Ming is at this point just completely blown away. Remember, he failed his save and his check, so he's completely at the mercy. He's enraptured by this this display of magic power from the dragon. And so, as it swirls and up and up and up, and finally, the dragon shoots out of the top of the opening volcano, and Ming is just kind of left there, wondering what's going to happen. But as Ming is looking up, he sees out of the corner of his eye over here a little flash of light. And so he quickly looks down behind the altar. And if you're wondering where I'm getting all this, I'm literally making it up as I go. So behind the altar, I'm imagining there's a wall. And the wall looks like it's molten magma that's dried over. So it looks like maybe like lava has come up over the wall and dried. So it's got bubbles and like dried bubbles in it. But inside of the wall, stuck into the side of the wall, are going to be a series of weapons. All kinds of weapons. Spears and swords, bows, quivers, any kind of... If it's associated with weapons, it's shoved into the wall. It looks like they've been stabbed into the wall. And it looks like they were stabbed in while the magma, the lava was still hot. So they were like forced in. They literally are just stuck in the wall. But Ming notices that 3 specific weapons have an aura emanating from them. And so Ming takes a step back. Why are they glowing? That's strange. And so the first weapon that Ming notices, it pops out of a higher part of the wall and starts spinning as it comes closer to him. Now, Ming instinctively just reaches up his hand and grabs it as it gets close. And he realizes that a boomerang has popped out of the wall and come towards him. And he's holding it, looking at it. It's glowing and emanating a slight aura. Where did I get this weapon from? I rolled it all before the session started. I knew I was getting 3 weapons, and so I wanted to roll what they were. I knew one was going to be a blade of some kind. I knew one was going to be a ranged weapon of some kind. And then the third weapon, you'll find out in a moment. So, he grabs it, holds it, and he looks it up and down. It's a boomerang. And so he played with one as a kid, but this is different. At the end of it, there's 2 leather grips where it can be caught again, but there's a blade on the front. It's an actual weapon. It's not a toy. And so Ming knows he'll have to practice with this so he doesn't cut his fingers off. And so he takes it and he, puts it on the ground next to him, and because he sees there's other things glowing. And so another one pops out of the wall, and it's a staff of some kind that's spinning as it comes towards him. Again, he instinctively reaches up his hand, and it flies straight to his hand. It's a quarterstaff, but he notices it's not made of wood like his previous quarterstaff was. It's made of something else. And as he grips it, a word enters into his mind. And he hears the word collapse. And so he thinks it. And then it collapses down to a small, maybe 1 foot long rod. And then he hears another word, extend. And he thinks that, and it's back out to a full quarterstaff. And so he's, looking at it, his eyes get all wide. He's like, this is cool. This is cool. So he thinks the word, collapse again. He goes back down. And again, he sets it on the floor next to the boomerang. Again, I rolled for that. I knew I wanted to replace my quarterstaff because that's just kind of a monk thing, right? But I knew I wanted to replace it. And so rolled that and got a wondrous item. So, yeah. And then finally, though, the last thing. Ming is looking at the wall and he sees it. He knows it. It's a blade. It's some kind of sword. And so, but it doesn't pop out. In fact, it looks like it's trying to pull itself out of the wall, but it just isn't moving. So Ming, climbs up onto the altar and climbs up past the roost and goes to the wall and he looks at it and he can feel magical energy welling up inside of him. Very similar to how he uses his ki abilities. And so he reaches forward and the minute he touches, just barely touches the hilt of the sword, he feels it. His body just flush with heat. And then it's chilled after that because the heat just goes away. It feels like electricity is running all around his body. And he just reaches up and grabs the hilt with everything he has. And it actually kind of burns and hurts for a moment. But he can't escape the thought, I've got to get this weapon. And so he grabs the hilt and he grabs it again with 2 hands and he pulls with all of his might. And it doesn't even budge an inch. So before he lets go, he closes his eyes and for a moment gets all the ki that he has in his gut and all the ki in his body, and he focuses it up into his chest, out into his arms, and into his hands, and he enraptures his hands around the sword again, and he puts his hands around the hilt again. With all the ki he has in his body, he shoots it into the blade and pulls, and it just comes out. No problem. And that's when he feels it. A rush of his ki. What was once previously a chaotic mess is now serene. It feels as though he has found a missing part of his soul. And so he steps back and he looks at the blade. It's a nice, imagine a Chinese longsword. It's nice, broad, flat. And then almost as he's thinking, well, how am I going to hold it? Out of the same hole, on the ground, plops a nice, finely carved cherry wood scabbard. And he picks it up and looks at it, and it smells a nice, fragrant leather and wood aroma. It's got leather for some parts of the handles, and it's clearly very well crafted. And he puts it into its scabbard, and it's got he puts it on his back. It's got a little belt thing that he can put it on it. So he climbs back down, and he puts the boomerang on his belt and puts the staff kind of tucked in his shirt as it's collapsed. He's looking around thinking, where's the dragon? Where's the dragon through all this? And that's when he hears it. A far off, distant roar. And he looks up for a second to see the dragon still circling above. And he hears it again. Only this time it's louder. And he looks up again. And he sees the dragon barreling down in a power dive. Straight towards him. Straight down into the dormant volcano. And at first he's He's not attacking me, is he? He wouldn't attack me. There's no way he would attack me. Is he attacking me? And there's a moment of fear, real abject fear. So here's the question. Does Ming run? Just a wisdom save. Yeah. No, this is going to be a con save. This is going to be a con save. DC 10 plus 14. Con save. Cool. So he succeeds. So he's able to hold his ground and just kind of like thinking he's not attacking. He can't be attacking. So as the dragon, he bursts in and just barrels straight through. When he comes through the opening in the top, Ming's ears kind of pop a little bit from the sudden very change in air pressure as this massive creature is flying down as fast as he can towards him. And just when the dragon is maybe 100 feet up, Ming sees it. He can see the smoke billowing out of the dragon's nostrils stop. He can hear the inhale of air, and he goes, and just there's only a split second for Ming to think, I'm dead. And he sees it. A huge jet of blue and white flame erupts from the dragon's maw as he continues to barrel down upon Ming. Before Ming can even react, he's engulfed in the flames, but it's not hot. It's not cold, but it's not hot. And his vision goes completely a mix of turquoise blue and white, and all he can't see past that, he feels the flames licking away any wounds he's had previously. All the fatigue he had from climbing in his muscles and in his back and in his mouth, from hitting the side of the mountain, it's erased. But more importantly, he feels something change inside of him. And suddenly, all the abilities that he once had, water whip and air blast and other things he had used when he was in tune with the elements, he feels them slip away. It's not that he forgets how to do them, it's just he feels, he can tell the ability to manipulate ki that he had before, it's gone. But in its place, something else wells up in him, and he holds the sword at his back, and he can feel a connection to it. And at that moment, he feels it pulse. And he realizes that he and the sword, his boomerang at his side, and also the staff inside his shirt. All three of him and the weapons, all three of them are now one. And he realizes that he's undergoing the real, actual rite of selection. And at that moment, he gives in. He allows himself to be changed by whatever magic is taking over. And next thing you know, he's floating in the air, and he has a moment of pure elation as his connection to his weapons grows so strong that he can't tell where he ends and the weapons begin, and he can't tell where they all share one being. The next thing he knows, he's on his feet again, and the dragon is swirled up above him and starts to slowly float back down to his roost. And Ming is, I think at that point he realizes he has almost forgotten to breathe. That was amazing. What just happened? He feels a tear welling up in his eye.
You have passed the Rite of Selection. That is what happened.
Why wasn't I consumed by the fire?
Because you have been deemed worthy to wield the weapons that you chose.
If I wasn't worthy,
you would not be standing before me right now.
Thank you, great dragon, for finding me worthy.
It is not for your sake that I give you such boons.
You want me to find the source of this imbalance?
Yes. Go down south to the monastery of the Phoenix. Speak with my brother. He is there. Find out why. I can smell the imbalance in the air.
What should I do when I find out why?
Correct it.
And what will happen when I do?
You will be strong.
Of course, that triggers Ming's desire to be strong enough to take on his master. I will do this. I will go. It's in the south, correct?
Yes. Along the river and deep in the southern mountains.
Of course, I know that, where that area is. I've seen maps of it. I've never gone before. But I know someone who has. And I'm helping him. I'm helping him with something in a few days. I think I can convince him to help me go there as well. Or at least tell me the way.
Good. The weapons you've chosen are good and strong. They will protect you. But remember the tenets of the order in all things that you do.
I will. I will. You have my word.
Good.
You know that many of the other brothers are going to want to undergo the Rite of Selection now. The real one. If they are deemed unworthy,
They will die.
I will tell them that. I won't tell them you're here. I do not want them to foolishly take on the rite.
That is for them to decide, not you. Now, do you have anything else to ask me before I send you back down to the monastery?
Does he? Oh my gosh, I totally almost forgot. Yes, there is one thing I have to know. Deep in an ancient burial mound, I found an altar with your symbol in it. The emblem that you gave to our order as a sign and seal that you were its founder. What was it doing away from the monastery? And why on an altar?
Despite the fact that I have demanded nobody worship me, there are some who do. A cult of the dragon. I have told them over the eons to leave me be, but they refuse to. If you see them, be very careful. They are very, very dangerous and not to be messed with.
I understand.
I hope you do. Now, I will send you back down to the mountain.
How will you, at that point, interrupting his sentence, Ming can feel himself slowly start to lift up. And he looks down and he can feel the dragon's magic around him. And he starts to lift up. And the dragon flies up with him. They both start flying up to the top. And of course, Ming's scared at first, but I think eventually the calmness of knowing the dragon's in control helps him. And so they fly up over the outside of the dormant cone volcano. His ears kind of popping a little bit, being so high up, and they start descending down in a spiral pattern around the mountain. And Ming can see all the different paths and stuff that he came up that he almost died on. And then eventually, Ming sees kind of the first clearing, the first landing that he had, that the path goes up to the mountain, and the dragon deposits him right there. And he stands on the dry ground. He looks up and sees the dragon spiral a couple times, and then fly back up to his roost at the top. Ming feels discombobulated, but also strangely calm. He knows exactly what he has to do. So Ming heads back down the path to the back to the monastery. Now it feels like he's been gone maybe a couple hours, not maybe 5 at most, right? And so he doesn't feel like he's been gone very long. But in the time that he climbed up there and was conversing with the dragon, somehow a whole day has passed. Literally it's now almost, he can tell it's like the sun has just come up over the mountains to the east. He senses a strange out of place and out of time when he was speaking with the dragon, almost as if the dragon had manipulated his perception of time to finish the rite. Who knows? But all he knows is that it's now the next day, and it's shortly before breakfast. As he's walking back down into the monastery, several of the monks are undergoing their morning routines and morning kata. He can smell breakfast being prepared in the mess hall. And on top of that, he sees, that life is peaceful here. So he goes to the barracks and puts his sword next to his bed. And he takes out the staff, the rod, and puts in his footlocker, where he also places the boomerang. And he closes that, and he thinks for a moment. I've been gone 4 days now. I need to leave very soon for Soldera. I told Karvok that I would be in Soldera in 1 week's time. Well, it's been 4, maybe 5 days since that. I need to leave fairly quickly. I'll have breakfast and head out. Again, Ming feels rested, right? Whenever the fire came around, he didn't need this. He feels like he slept a full. He feels completely rested entirely. And so he heads to breakfast. And when there, several of the monks whispering whenever he's eating. A couple of them ask, "So, how was it? How did you, And he tells them. He tells them all about his barely escaping, and he tells them about climbing up the mountain, carving his name, and pulling the weapons out of the rock. They all nod in agreement, like, yes, that's the right. They all believe him. But I wonder. I'm going to ask the fate chart something. So, fate chart. Does the master believe him? I think it's unlikely. Yeah, I think it's unlikely. The Chaos Rank 4, so unlikely. Does the master believe him? 64, right? Yeah, 64. That is a no. So he does not believe him. So after Ming regales everybody with kind of his tale about going forth and going on his adventure, after breakfast again, the master motions him forward. Ming goes and sits in front of him. At this point, most of the monks have cleared out. They've all gone to their various morning duties or classes or whatever. Only ones left are the kitchen staff, and they're cleaning up. And then, obviously, it's the master and then the other elder monks as they have their after-breakfast tea again. Ming Zhao. What happened to you at the top of the mountain? Tell me. I've told you, master. I climbed. I etched my name among the chosen. Grabbed 3 weapons from the wall. and came down.
For someone who just took that kind of arduous journey, you're looking very good. Too good.
I don't understand, Master. What are you trying to say?
What happened?
You wish to know if something else happened to me on top of the mountain?
Yes.
Something did. Actually, hold on, wait. Is Ming gonna tell him? I don't know, 50-50. 86, 50-50. That's an exceptional. No. He's not gonna tell him. Not just no, but exceptional no.
Did something happen? Tell me.
No. Master, I underwent the rite that you gave me permission to do. And I completed it. That's all.
Fine. Get out.
I'll be leaving the monastery after breakfast.
Good. You've gained what you wanted. Get. Don't come back until you're strong enough to face me.
With pleasure. And with that, Ming stands up, does a courtesy bow, totally out of spite, but still, he is still the master. He courtesy bows to the masters, and then is out. So, I don't think the master believed him at all. So we'll deal with that later. I think I'm gonna end the scene there. I'm gonna end the session there as well. It's a really long session too. So I'm gonna end the session there, end everything there. Ming has got his 3 weapons, so he's gonna pack up his stuff and head down the mountain. He's going to Sildera, where he's going to meet Karvok and help Karvok on his little merchant mission to the capital of the dwarves in the middle of the mountains. So this is exciting. This is very exciting. Ming has never been to the capital of the dwarves. He speaks Dwarven, he loves Dwarven culture. So this will be a very fun trip for him. But then also it'll be a chance for him to test out his newfound abilities and powers. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you coming along. I'm sorry for the long time of uploading. I'll try to get back into a regular schedule again. But still, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. As always, do all the stupid YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe to this video. Hope that you'll follow along for more of Ming's adventures, either until we finish the story or he dies, whichever happens first. He's probably going to die first, but still. All right. With that said, I'm Kenneth. I'm the Lone Dice Guy. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. God bless.